Capitol, they were talking GM Lordstown and in particular its future. GM CEO Mary Barra met with lawmakers to fill them in on the status of the idled plant. Derek Steyer is in Washington, D.C. He spoke with the disappointed lawmakers as they emerged from that closed-door meeting. Good evening, Derek.
Leslie, this was not the news that Senators Sherrod Brown and Rob Portman and Congressman Tim Ryan wanted to hear. GM CEO Mary Barra painting a very bleak picture about the future of the Lordstown plant. And tonight, Ohio lawmakers are once again stunned about GM's lack of commitment in the Mahoning Valley. GM CEO Mary Barra expressing optimism after giving an update on the Lordstown plant to Ohio lawmakers Wednesday.
Had productive discussions, thank you.
A stark contrast to what Senators Sherrod Brown and Rob Portman heard.
A lack of commitment. That's what we're looking for, is a commitment. We didn't hear it.
We didn't get answers to questions that we still hope to see answered.
Congressman Tim Ryan said it was hard to swallow.
The fact that GM is so over capacity, they need to get rid of a facility, they don't want to give us false hope about Lordstown, they're encouraging all the workers to leave. Those are terrible meetings to be in.
With the GM future in Lordstown looking less and less by the day, attention now turns to Workhorse and a startup company that would purchase the plant to build electric vehicles.
The best offer of many that they've gotten, a dozen or so, she said, was Workhorse out of Cincinnati. That's the one they followed up on. And at most, it sounds like 400 jobs.
This is the one they picked that they thought was the best deal. And so they're confident, and I asked them about can they get money in the capital markets. They had confidence that they could. They had confidence in their technology.
It seems like a risk. Is this a risk the Mahoning Valley can afford to take?
Well, we have no choice. I mean, you got to take risks, especially, we don't have a whole lot to lose at this point. I mean, we lost this factory that used to have 16,000 people. Now it's down to zero. I mean, so, it can't get any worse than it is now.
And for me, that's really one of the big takeaways from today's meeting. And one of the newest aspects is Mary Barra's confidence in this new startup company, which is going to be formed by former Workhorse CEO Steve Burns, the amount of confidence that they have in this project. But the senators and Congressman Ryan all still have a lot of questions about the viability of this, especially considering when we're told that it's going to take $300 to $400 million to retool that Lordstown plant. But one of the big concerns from Senator Sherrod Brown is that GM has no plan B if this doesn't work. Reporting from Capitol Hill, live with more local news, I'm Derek Steyer. Back to you, Leslie.
Thank you, Derek. And GM's CEO gave lawmakers no indication of how the talks are going with the startup company from Cincinnati or what exactly the plans would be if the plant is sold. So we sent Matt Stone to talk to the man who is currently in talks with GM to buy the Lordstown plant, Steve Burns.
I think GM picked us of all the suitors because electric's the future.
Steve Burns says GM wants his new company to take over the Lordstown plant.
I get the weight out.
The creator and former CEO of Workhorse says the hard work is already done. They already have an electric truck that is designed and road tested and ready for the assembly line. He says no other company does, and in this business, it's important to be first. He says once he came to terms with GM on the plant, Mary Barra called Trump, and then he sent out those infamous tweets. Burns says it was announced early for a reason.
So that we could go out openly and talk to everybody, and so that's what we're doing. To buy a 6 million square foot plant, it's a lot of EPA work, it's a lot of work with all the constituents.
He won't say how much funding he's secured to open and retool the plant at this time, but he says it's coming along because he has a product on the road to showcase.
400 electric trucks on the road is the most of anybody in the United States. So we have the best pedigree. The technology we're getting from Workhorse is the only proven electric truck technology in the whole United States, maybe the world. So we're going to use that in all those miles and tough customers like UPS and DHL.
Burns says he needs fleet orders to make it happen. That's his target customer. And he claims he does not need the postal truck order to make it happen. He says other companies will see the economical benefit of trucks that get 75 miles equivalent to the money spent on gas to get 17 miles per gallon.
We've pre-sold $300 million of these at Workhorse to big fleets. Fleets look at total cost of ownership, right? What's this pickup truck going to cost me? And I'm going to keep it for 8 years. What's fuel and maintenance for 8 years? What's my all-in price? And as it turns out, nobody can beat an electric pickup truck when you look at it that way, if you charge appropriately.
Burns says he needs the UAW or it won't work.
I don't think I could find hundreds and hundreds of able-bodied workers and get them to move to the valley. They're there.
While Burns says they just want to make predominantly trucks at the Lordstown plant, he does say it would be very easy to retool it quickly to make other things like this carbon fiber opticopter.
He says he wants the company to be prepared to shift products to meet the needs of the consumer. That way, they'll never have a shutdown time.
We want to make all things that make sense for electric mobility. So really, we want the new company to be an electric mobility company, and that's starting to take a lot of shapes, sizes, and forms.
He says this new company would be separate from Workhorse, and its world headquarters would be right here in Lordstown. With more local news, I'm Matt Stone.
Next on 21 News, 2 people are now in custody in connection with a Sharon shooting that left 1 man dead. Stocks closed higher on Wall Street today. The Dow was up 207 points. The Nasdaq rose 48.